I remember the day they laughed. The sound still echoes in my mind, a cruel symphony of disbelief, disdain, and disdainful whispers. The day I returned home, it was that laughter that hung in the air, a specter of bitterness, sharp as the edge of a knife. I had spent years chasing the rot that lay hidden beneath silos and abandoned farms. Years battling against the tide of disdain from the very people I had hoped would support me. I had become a mycologist. Yes, but more than that, I had become a harbinger of truths too terrible for this world to hold. Fungi are just a phase, my father had yelled once, his face twisted with a mixture of anger and disappointment. You're going to disgrace this family with your ridiculous obsession. You'll lose your mind out there. And I had. I had lost my mind in the best way possible. Years had passed since that fateful day, and I had earned recognition that my family could never have imagined. I was no longer the pariah they had mocked. I was a name whispered in the halls of academia and beyond, a beacon for those who dared to look into the shadows. I had survived the horrors I pursued, and now I was returning to face the very ones who had shunned me. The old farmhouse loomed ahead as I approached, its timbers weathered and weary, a relic of my childhood. I could feel the weight of their judgment even before I set foot on the creaking porch. My heart raced. Not with fear, but with the anticipation of vindication. I wanted to show them what I had uncovered, the truths they had dismissed as lunacy. As I stepped inside, the familiar sense of dust and decay washed over me. The living room, filled with the echoes of my past, stood in stark contrast to the vibrancy of the fungal blooms I had studied. My mother was the first to notice me, her eyes widening as she caught sight of my weathered face, my hands stained with the remnants of my work. The silence was palpable, as if the very walls held their breath. "Is that you?" she whispered, her voice trembling, a mix of recognition and disbelief. I nodded, forcing a smile through the bitter memories. "I'm back." "What have you done to yourself?" my sister sneered, her voice sharp like a shard of glass. "You look like a ghost. This obsession has ruined you." I felt the sting of her words, but they only fueled my resolve. "You don't understand. I've seen things you can't even imagine." "Enough of your stories," my father bellowed, his face flushed with indignation. "You think you're some kind of expert now? You think we'll listen to your nonsense?" I took a deep breath, staying the storm within me. What if I told you that the decay I've studied isn't just something to be dismissed? What if I told you it's a harbinger, a warning of what lies beneath? They exchanged looks, a mixture of disbelief and disdain. I wasn't here to convince them. I was here to show them. "Do you remember the old silo at the edge of town?" I asked, my voice low and steady. "The one where the crops failed?" I went back. My mother's expression shifted, her fear creeping in. "You didn't." "I did. I went into the bowels of that structure. Do you know what I found?" And with that, I produced a small jar from my bag. Inside was a mass of dark, writhing mycelium, the kind that thrived on despair and decay. This isn't just fungi. It's a living testament to our neglect, to everything we refuse to acknowledge. As I spoke, shadows began to twist and writhe in the corners of the room, the very air thickening with dread. The mycelium pulsed in its jar, sending ripples of unease through the gathering. "What are you doing?" my mother gasped, stepping back, eyes wide. "This isn't funny." "It's not meant to be," I said, voice barely above a whisper. "These horrors are here, lurking beneath the surface. They will consume everything we ignore." Suddenly, there was a loud crack, like thunder, as the shadows surged forward. They twisted into grotesque forms, and my family recoiled as tendrils reached out, wrapping around them, pulling them into the abyss of their own disbelief. Their screams filled the air, a chorus of terror, as they faced the darkness they had dismissed for so long. I stood still, watching as they grappled with the weight of their refusal to see, the cost of their ridicule now manifesting before them. I had uncovered the truth of the rotting world, and it surrounded me like a crown of night. In that moment, I felt a bittersweet sense of triumph. I had survived the terrors they had laughed at, and now they were confronted with the very— But as I walked away, a chilling resolve settled within me. I was no longer haunted by their laughter. I was the keeper of knowledge they had scorned, a sentinel standing against the encroaching dark. The world had its eyes closed, but I would keep mine open, forever vigilant against the rock beneath.